Hello everyone, good morning. This is Sangeetha, Assistant Professor, ECE Department, SNS College of Engineering, Coimbatore. So today we are going to discuss about IPESP. So the outline of this video is introduction of ESP and advantages and disadvantages. So first let us discuss what is ESP. So ESP means Encapsulating Security Payload as a key protocol within the IPsec. So IPsec means Internet Protocol Security. So ESP is responsible for the CIA triad of security. CIA means confidentiality, integrity and authentication or availability, which is considered significant only when encryption is carried along with them. So securing all payload or packets or content in the IPv4 and IPv6 is the responsibility of ESP. So IPv6 and IPv4 is the protocol which is used mainly for a network layer. So as the name suggests, it involves encapsulation of the content, payload and content or payload. So payload means it also means content. So encrypted to the suitable form, and then there are security check or authentication takes place for the data in IP network. And let us move on to working of ESP. So encapsulating security payload supports both main network layer protocols, that is IPv4 and IPv6 protocols. It performs the functioning of encryption in headers of internet protocol, or in general say it resides and performs functions in IP header. So one important thing to note here is that the encryption of ESP is between Internet Protocol and the other protocols such as UDP, TCP and ICMP. So there are some working modes in ESP. Encapsulating security payload supports two modes, that is transport mode and tunnel mode. So in tunnel mode, mandatory in gateway, tunnel mode holds utmost importance. So here a new IP header is created which is used as the outer IP header followed by ESP. And in transport mode, here the IP header is not protected via encryption or authentication, so making it vulnerable to threats. So less processing is seen in this mode, so the inclusion of ESP is preferred. So the main difference between the tunnel mode and transport mode is tunnel mode is fully protected and transport mode is partially protected. So in tunnel mode, the header and the content both are encrypted, but in transport mode only the payload or content is encrypted. Next we move on to advantages and disadvantages of ESP. So the advantages is encrypting the data to private security and maintaining a security gateway for data and message transmission. Also, it properly authenticating the origin of data, providing needed data integrity, and also it maintains the data confidentiality. Also, it helps with anti-replay services using authentication header. So the main disadvantages are there is a restriction on the encryption method to be used. For global use and implementation, weaker encryption are mandatory to use. And so the components of ESP. So the main components of ESP is security parameters, sequence number, payload, padding and authentication data. So the security parameters are assigned to a size of 32 bits per use. So the security parameter is mandatory to secure parameter in ESP for security and security links and associations. And the sequence number is a 32 bits number. It works as an incremental counter. So the first packet has a sequence number 1 assigned to it whenever sent through SE. And payload data, that is the payload don't have any fixed size and are variable in size to use. Padding has an assigned size of between 0 to 255 bytes. The padding is done to ensure that the payload data which needs to be sent securely fits into the cipherflock correctly. So for this padding, payloads come to the rescue. Pay length is assigned to the size of 8 bits to use. It is a measure of uh, bytes that are preceding. And the next header is associated with the size of 8 bits to use. So it is responsible for determining the data type payload by studying the first header of the payload. So authentication data, the last one is authentication data. The size associated with the authentication data is variable, so and never fixed for use case. So authentication data in the is an optional field that is applicable only when SAS selected. It serves for the purpose of providing integrity. So these are the components of ESP. So hope this video will help you to understand the IP ESP. Thank you.